Good.
I was just gonna say, today we just wanted to have like a little chat, like just to give you a glimpse into how we navigate some of the problems and some of the and I wouldn't necessarily just say problems, but life, how we navigate life, because it has not been a smooth ride so far in 2022. It's been hard and it's been exhausting, emotionally and physically.
So what are some of the pitfalls that we've encountered?
Well, I got sick
You got sick.
with a virus for about 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
got healthy for 2 days. And on the third day is when you said, I don't feel so good later in the day. And I said, you know what? I don't either. And while that wasn't very bad, I felt like I wanted to rip my nose off, but that was it. I ended up testing positive for COVID. So after having to reschedule a week of clients, I then had to reschedule a whole nother week of clients. And you were sick. And
I was sick. She gave me COVID.
he brought it home. He brought it home, and we know he brought it home because there was too many people that he knows that had gotten sick around the same exact period of time. But I think it must have been floating in the air because it seems like everybody was sick over Martin Luther King weekend.
True.
But anyway, you were sick for 11 days.
Sick at 11 days.
At least 12 days, maybe running a fever. And it's taxing.
And I will say this, all during this time, actually, my father was battling cancer, and actually he transitioned. He passed away about a couple weeks ago. Last week he passed away. So on top of physical elements, actually, we were dealing with the emotional aspect of him coming to the end of his journey. And there was a lot to that.
It was a lot to it, and it was a quick diagnosis. Back in November, he had been sick with pneumonia. It was a misdiagnosis of pneumonia, or it was pneumonia, but it wasn't getting better, and that's why we found out he had cancer. It was lung cancer that metastasized to a few lymph nodes and his brain, and so. Yeah, like it hit fast and hard, and there was he went through a little bit of radiation.
Yeah.
And the day that he was supposed to meet with his oncologist, and mind you that the prognosis, even with chemo, was only 6 months to a year.
Correct.
So we were hoping that whatever decision he made, it would be, he would look at quality over quantity at that point, because we know how devastating chemo can be to the body. But anyway.
Actually, that brings us to an important point that actually I want to share with you guys, because when all this hit pretty much in December, or in November and into December, actually, I had made a couple trips up to see my father, and Linda Lee and Michaela actually made one of those trips with me. And it wasn't until actually I came home that I realized that there was a little something that I was still holding against my father. My parents separated when I was young and stuff, and we've had a good relationship, but there was still something there that needed to be worked out, needed to be forgiven, or what have you. So there was some work that I did. We came home actually from seeing my father, and I told Linda Lee, I just needed to call him. I needed to call him and just talk to him. I don't know exactly what it was exactly, but there was a conversation that we had that I was able to tell him without reservation, I love you, and we'll make the best of what we have left. And that in itself was cathartic for me as well as him, I do believe. But it just got me to thinking, what are these little things that we hold on to sometimes when people that we love are in a position that my father was in? What are these things that we hold on to in our daily relationships sometimes
That we're not even aware of.
that we're not even aware of?
Well, and I want to remind you, when you had that conversation, you had a breakthrough moment where that forgiveness occurred. You didn't even know what the forgiveness was for per se.
Correct.
And you were able to share with him that he was not alone, that you were going to walk beside him during this process of the end of his life.
Yes.
And to be brave for him and to helpfully share with him your faith and knowledge of what comes after this.
That I was able to do. That I was able to do to the best of my ability. And it's just how I view death. And it's a transition. It's a transition of a journey complete.
Right. And on to the next one then.
And on to the next one.
It doesn't make it any easier to say goodbye to the physical, knowing that the spirit lives on. It is still a difficult situation to go through.
Correct.
It's emotionally charged and it's sad and it's hard. Even though we know it is not just the end.
Correct.
And I think that that's just really important to note. Like, you're going to grieve.
You're going to grieve.
You're going to have anger, maybe in unfairness, and just a range of different emotions that crop.
You're going to have a sense of loss.
Right.
Could I have done anything better?
Regret.
Exactly.
And I mean, that was even for me. I shared with Ron that I had a sense of regret that I did not make more time. I loved him and I respected his opinions, but I didn't necessarily agree with them. I wholeheartedly did not agree with a lot of them. And there was also the fact that I didn't always understand what he was saying because of his accent.
Okay.
And that was, it made it difficult. It was not always enjoyable to be around him. And I know that sounds harsh, but there were plenty of times where it was nice, but there was also the times where it was it was hard.
So what is the point that we're looking to share with everyone right now, do you think?
I think that, it would have been really easy to just kind of like pull the covers up over your head and hide from the emotions instead of having the conversations about them, or pretend that everything was just, perfect and like, well, let me just go about doing every single thing that I can, and throw myself wholeheartedly into whatever you could do for him and his wife with, I think, taking, there's times where we have to move through life at 150% rather than 100%. And then once you get through that, to be gentle with yourself and to take the day, a day, many days, whatever it is, to rest and recover, to process, to allow emotion to come up, to allow fatigue to take over, and rest and recover.
Okay. For me, it is being aware of the little things we harbor, the little resentments we may have, and getting to the bottom of those. I'm not sure that we can rid ourselves of everything, but it's a willingness to ask for grace, to try to live the best life you can. Be willing to be wronged.
Yeah.
Be willing to question why you think that way. Don't be defined by who you are, because we're always evolving. I think that's probably the message that I like to share most. And be willing to forgive. Be willing to forgive.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is too, I just go back to when your dad was in the hospital and you said, I'm not going. I said my goodbyes. And I was going, and I was going to hold space for your family and for your dad, and to support them, and also to be there. I wanted to be there, but and I think that sometimes we have to do some of the things that we don't necessarily aren't for us, but are for others. And I think that that's where you came, and you ended up coming up to the hospital, and it was for your dad, because it felt like he needed you there, and your family. So sometimes it's not just about us, but it's about being present and supportive for others. And there's such an amazing gift in that.
So these are actually some of our thoughts of what we've been through in the last several weeks.
And I want to add another layer to that too. I mean, my mom has dementia. She's 88 years old. And there's a lot of different responsibilities that fall on our shoulders because of that. And that doesn't go away. So if I didn't have my time that I took to meditate and to strengthen back into the core of who I am and the essence of who I am, and to ask for assistance and guidance, and for strength, I don't think I would have got through it.
Truly, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Because I have my own meditation practices that probably haven't been as fluid as they have been in the past few weeks, but they are there. These are some of our ramblings.
Just to let you know that life is hard sometimes.
Yes.
And you have to find what gives you your strength and your comfort, and you rely on your partner to push you, to hold you,
to listen to you,
to listen. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
All of that.
And I'll say this with that, there were days that I told Linda Lee, I don't know how I feel. And her response was, that's okay. It's okay that you don't know how you feel. A lot to process, a lot to go through. And the ability to speak with someone and share those raw feelings of, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. What a gift. What a gift it is that I have this woman beside me to share that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a gift. He's a lucky man.
And it's okay just being there. Because we all go through it.
Right. So if you need some assistance, some help, an ear, someone to hold space for you, if there's stuff you're going through and you've navigated it already and you want to share what that was, write it in the comments. Reach out to us. Reach out to us.
Because life is about community, and it's about working through things together. Yeah. Left to our own devices, there's a lot of suffering inside us.
Okay.
I'm not sure the analogy there, but
fish out of water.
Okay, fish out of water. Needless to say, appreciate you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.